How long can the stock market and the economy continue their divorce? Not for much longer. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, August the 21st. And, of course, we continue to see the markets try to rally while the economy continues to fizzle. And we continue to see the excuses being made and some phony artificial numbers being delivered that I do not tell the true story of what's going on in the economy. I think that we've got some major problems here, and you have to ask yourself the question, is this being done because the countries around the world, the governments around the world, are striving for Marxism or socialism or communism across the globe? Okay. Are we intentionally slowing the growth so that we have to force everybody into, income equality, which will never happen because the oligarchs and the billionaires and the wealthy will always have. And what we've really systematically done here, especially since this administration has taken place, is to make them stronger while weakening the most important class, which is the middle class, which does the spending, the tax paying, and the stimulation of the economy on a regular basis. So there's a lot of issues out there, and I say to you that it cannot continue for much longer. At some point, now again, the much longer there is no definition for when is much longer. I mean, is it a week, a month, a year? That we don't know, because again, in the much bigger scope, we don't know. We can't reference time. Okay, but there will be a consolidation of the economy and the stock market. And, we could be, again, it could be tomorrow. It could be a year from tomorrow. We don't know. But what we do know is that what we're watching right now is extremely artificial. Okay. You've got existing home sales, okay, down again for the 6th month, okay, in a row, 5-6% down once again. Okay. You've got inventory, housing inventory up 27%, okay, with the new listings down 15%. So all of these things continue to be red flags. Unfortunately, Americans, okay, don't take the warning of what the red flags are. Okay, we are either in all-out buy mode or all-out panic mode. We don't seem to find the middle ground of what I like to call even keel, okay, and have a true understanding of what's going on. Okay, so we talked about what was going to happen in the housing about a year ago, and this was as easy to call as possible. We are in the process of a repeat of the 2008-2009, because if you remember, that in 2008, 2009, it just didn't show up in October of 2008. Just like the crash in 87 didn't just show up. Just like the internet bubble just didn't show up. These things send out plenty of rocket flares. There's a problem. But of course, they're ignored. We continue to ignore problems until the problem overwhelms, and then it's too late. Okay. So hopefully you, as a personal, are making sure that you're putting away money so that you have for a rainy day, because it's going to rain. It's going to pour. You're going to need more than an umbrella. Okay, I promise you. This is not a new thing that we've never seen before. Okay, we've got a recession. Now, again, we know that the government and the Federal Reserve do not want to recognize the name recession. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. But all you have to do is look at your own spending. All you have to do is look at your own life That'll tell you in a recession or not. Because at the end of the day, do you really care if you're having trouble paying your bills? Do you really care if the government tells you that you're in a recession or some asshole economist says it's a recession? Does it really matter to you? And the answer is absolutely not. What do you give a shit? Okay. You care about your own life. Okay. One of the problems we have in this country is we all care a little bit too much about what we're doing and not much about what's going on that could help us directly. But that's a story for another day. But housing sales, as I said, are melting down. Okay, not a problem, not a problem, not something that we weren't ready for. Okay, another quarter of negative GDP is coming. Okay, inflation. Okay, now we already have a crappy school system, pretty much globally. Okay, I don't mean globally, countrywide. Okay. We are not in a very good shape when it comes to education in this country to begin with. And now their budgets are being cut even further. Now, you have to ask yourself a question. Was it worth using all the capital to bail out something that was worthless? Or should we take care of our education system? Of course, we all know that we teach crap, okay? That we no longer have a system that actually teaches kids skills, life skills. Okay. We teach them how to be, we're worried about transgender, and we're worried about all these other things that really are part of, for the minority, the small minority of the population versus real skills like auto shop, home economics, woodworking, the things that you do every day. It's really a sad state. And now they want to cut budgets even further, which will mean less teachers, bigger classes, less learning, and more babysitting. Okay. Now, again, I don't know about you. Now, I don't have to go to school again. I'm done. Okay. My kids are done. But I feel for this country that we have to get back to some real serious education to really teach kids that not every kid needs to go to college, okay, to learn how to be a pussy, okay, or the pussification of America, okay, but we need to get some real skills. We still do have in this country real skills that we need. We still have plumbers, welders, electricians, carpenters, okay. They still exist. Believe it or not, we still do things. They're trying to make us so we don't, but we still do, okay. But, you've got a drought in the UK, okay, which is driving their energy markets into a disaster. And of course, obviously, energy is always a topic, and why we refuse to address it is beyond me, okay. But of course, we could be taking care of all those problems. When the United States stopped being a net exporter of oil, natural gas, where you really put pressure on the rest of the world, but really made Russia and Saudi Arabia much stronger. Okay. And I think that when you think about that, okay, Russia is in for pretty much control here. And Venezuela, which is another rad-ass nation that at one time was the richest nation in the world, but of course the Maduro and company stole all the money. But they do produce a lot of oil. And they have now stopped shipping oil to the UK. Why? Because we don't know. But let's assume that Russia told them that they're going to kill them or put them out of business if they keep shipping, or they're just in bed with Russia to begin with. Because Russia has total control of that area, which goes back to the moronic statements made by this administration about that Russia's in default, which they're not, that Russia's in trouble, which they're not. And if we wanted to really put sanctions and make them work and hold, then we would produce oil so that we could actually hurt Russia on price. But as much as the rhetoric from the media that you hear about how Russia is struggling, Russia is prospering because of the control in which they have. And the sanctions that have been put upon them are zero. Okay, they have no meaning. Okay, and that becomes once again a bigger problem. Okay, so when you look at the recession that we've got, you've also now got something new, another new development under the world of climate change, and that is coal. Okay, now you've heard me say this many times before, right here on this show, that coal is never going to be stopped being used by, for sure, China and India. And since they represent almost 40% of the world, you're never going to get that to stop. And now we're seeing more countries starting to use more coal because, again, it becomes it's a source of energy. Okay, it isn't oil. It's another thing that they can be used easier and cheaper. And so when you start pricing out nations and countries of using oil, okay, and they don't have any other energy sources, they're going to go to coal. And coal is, of course, a pollutant, as many things. And again, I didn't have a problem. I had a problem with the way that the coal business was shut down in this country, but I didn't have a problem with trying to limit the use because we had alternatives, which happen to have been fossil fuels. But of course, we don't want to use fossil fuels either. We just want to shut the country down and not do anything because we don't have the infrastructure to do the EV. We don't have the technology yet to do it in a mass scale. Plus the fact that you have to remember that the people that you're trying to put onto this solar power, wind power, EV power, don't necessarily have the money to go out and buy new cars and things that burn these fossil fuels. So we continue to beat a battle of the dead horse of nothing, because there's nothing you can do about this until you are prepared. Now, certainly, I'm not saying we shouldn't prepare, although I'm not a climate change believer. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I don't really know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not anybody who has any clue as to whether it exists. I know what history says, that this is just a normal cycle that happens at 80,000 year clips. Okay. But I don't see the dramatic effect of global warming. I don't see the dramatic effect of climate change, but certainly as long as we're going to have coal burning, you're going to continue to pollute the air. And unless you're putting a dome over the United States, you're going to have pollution here. And that's where I think the problem of this administration, which is, I think, more trying to destroy this country, okay, to become socialist and to control all of us. You know, everything they do is is for control, is for surveillance. Okay, and I think that's where the real problems come in. So we can talk the bullshit all we want. At the end of the day, okay, we should be functioning, we should be prospering, we shouldn't be going through the crap we're going through. But thank you to this administration who has put us in this position of pain. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 21st of August, and we're going to step out here for a break, and we'll be back with our market report right after the break. What up, kids? And of course, we talk about who sponsors the show, and of course, we have Capital Trading Group, who is one of our brokerage partners. Now, I have many brokers, so again, just to give you full disclosure, but Capital Trading Group, which is where 90% of my futures and commodities money is at, is the best in the business. Okay, they're the only ones I got authorized for letter of direction trading. They're actually partnered with us in our in our day trader's dream product. Okay, and they do all of our letter of direction trading. Phenomenal organization, great customer service, which is really what I care about. Check them out, info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. That's info.capitaltradinggroup.com/Bubba. And of course, Trade Your Brokerage, where I hold 90% of my equity trade money. Okay, why? Because they're $10 a month. I mean, I save over $100,000 a year on commissions. Okay. But number one. Number two, they have the ability to auto trade our equity portfolios at no charge. And they have the ability to auto trade our hedging stuff if you are licensed to software. They don't charge anymore. We charge for a lease on the software, okay, that we use. Okay. And now they're going to have cryptos that are going to be able to use as margin. okay, against your stock trading. That'll be coming out shortly. Try.trader.com/Bubba. That's try.trader.com/Bubba. And just this week, both Tradier and CTG offered anybody who wants to come to Vegas. We'll be at Circa this year, and I'm going to be teaching things I've never taught before, okay, especially on money management. Okay, if you missed the early bird, Tradier and CTG have both said that they will pay the $500 difference between the $997 and the $1497 if you open an account with them. Okay, so if you want to get the early bird and you want to come, okay, and we also have the live stream, which they will pay a portion of the live stream if you decide to open an account with either one of them. Okay, and of course, don't forget about our high school program at Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. And let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, August the 21st. And markets, look, they were kind of flattish lower this week. We're still long across the board right now. I don't know. Is it ending? I don't have the answer to that. It will end. It will end poorly. But right now, it's hard to say. But it was pretty much of a brutal week. But more important than it was down in a brutal week, it was a slow and quiet week. And coming up, the next 2 weeks aren't going to get any better. We're coming in, we got this week coming, and then the Labor Day holiday, okay, which is going to be slow. So this is not only slow trade, now we're going to go into the dead summer doldrums, okay. So I think you have to be very, very careful here. In markets, but again, a lot of the thing about being careful sometimes not trading. Our day trading, which we do every day with my members, has been good. We've made money, but it's been very slow. Okay. In the meantime, all four major indices were lower last week. We are still long all four major indices. As you look at the precious metals, gold, silver, and platinum. I warned, last week when we reversed silver, and I said, look, gold did not break out. I'm not changing gold. And I wouldn't be surprised if either gold broke the upside or silver came back and reversed. And sure enough, here we are. We're going to be reversing silver tonight or tomorrow, depending on when you do it, to the short side. We're still short gold. And of course, I wrote for Kitco. And gold has fallen and it can't get up. And listen, at some point, there's going to be a big rally. But again, the price action suggests that this is not the time for the big rally. And again, we don't predict it. We're not looking for it. When it shows up, and we'll be ready for it. Okay. And platinum is now under 900 again. Okay. So it's been pretty freaking ugly. Okay. For the metals. In the crude oil market, crude is still in a downtrend. Now, we still think that we're going to make all-time new highs at some point. But again, right now you're having it in a trend. It's trending lower. And last week it was a little bit lower for the week, but you had some big moves, okay, in both directions, but slightly higher for the week. Natural gas continues to pop and explode and is now back up, in the mid nines, okay, 930. Okay, so again, this natural gas, and you're coming now into the natural gas season again, where the weather can start to change. I mean, it's only August, but before you know it, it's the middle of September, and you can get these cold snaps. And as always, these refiners and the natural gas are not prepared for it, and prices go a bit bonkers. But you can also feel the effect on your pocketbooks as well. In the meantime, we remain long natural gas. The dollar, as I said, it's going higher. We're still long dollars. I mean, look, you can say whatever you want, but countries use the dollar as a form of protection. The euro currency is now once again pushing below and testing that potential below par. I think it's going to 88 cents, which I've said all along. Since it was $1.60, I said it was going to 88 cents. Well, now we're at $1.50. So we're getting much closer. Okay. Bitcoin, really in consolidation. We're long Bitcoin right now. We're short the euro, by the way. We're long Bitcoin right now. And I don't know. I don't think it's I'm not nervous about it. I mean, suddenly on Friday, they just crushed it for whatever reason. Okay. And you can blame it on anything you want, who knows what. But in the meantime, I think it'll be okay. I mean, but by the trend, it's still up. And I think personally, I still own it and I would look to be buying more. Okay. But again, remember, only buy what you can afford to lose. Okay. In the copper markets, copper has finally reversed up, which we thought it might. Now, I don't know how strong this is going to be. This is obviously directly tied to the economy as well. They used to call it Dr. Copper. But we'll see bonds and notes we reverse, and they're getting clobbered. As I told you all along, I said, look, I don't really want to be long bonds and notes. I hate them. But finally they turned over. Okay. And they're getting wrecked. Okay. And I think they're going to get a lot more wrecked as you continue to hear the BS from the Federal Reserve about quantitative tightening and all their bullshit that they speak. They talk out of both sides of their mouth and they don't know what they're saying out of either one of them. Okay. Grain markets, well, it looked like the grains might have made a bottom on Tuesday. Okay. We are now long corn. We are now long beans. We are still short wheat. It was interesting. On Friday, I was on RFD TV. And wheat was down. I was getting ready for my hit. And we were talking, going, wheat is higher. And I go, what? Higher? It was up 21 cents. From down 14 to up 21 into 3 minutes, I was waiting to go on air. I think they're all going a lot higher. I think this is the story that these commodities are going to blast off. And I think that a lot of the selling was done trying to force some liquidation, which never took place. In the protein complex, fats, feeders, and hogs, we're going to reverse hogs tomorrow because I don't trade tonight. We'll be short hogs along the cattle markets. Look, I don't think either is right or wrong. I don't think they're going a lot lower. I don't think they're going a lot higher. I think cattle is still in that range. Okay, it'll depend on crude oil. And more than likely, when crude starts to rally again, it's going to be good for hogs because that's the next protein down the line. So we'll see. Okay, but that's going to what our positions are going to be. In the softs, cocoa continues to be lower. We continue to be short. Sugar continues to go down. We continue to be short. The coffee markets are now starting to turn around and we're long. OJ continues now to go down and we're short now. It was up and now it's still at ridiculously high prices. And the cotton markets exploded, and we caught most of that move, which is a pleasure. Okay. But suddenly, coffee was up at 160, came down to 84 cents, and now it's back to close to 115, 116, and we're long. So I think you have to just, watch the price action of the markets and not get too carried away. I think we get too opinionated based on what we hear on the news. And I'm going to tell you this, screw the news. It's always wrong. Okay. It's an opinion piece that is now designed to create action from you. Okay. I think the markets are overall in trouble. Okay. I think commodities are going to explode higher. I think we're going to have some massive inflation continuing as much as they tell us no. But the bottom line, watch the price action. Don't be afraid to not trade if you're a trader. And if you're an investor, don't panic. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out of a break and come back with my commentary right after the break. Well, kids, I'm not going to go through it all, but I will remind you about our brokerage partners, Tradier and CTG. I will also remind you that they have both made the offer to let you buy in for the early bird to Vegas if you should decide to come, if you open an account with those two places. Okay, either one will subsidize you as well as they will help you pay on the live stream if you want to just do that. Check them out. And of course, don't forget about our high school program. And you can see them scrolling along the bottom or on the sides. And now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and, of course, my commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 21st of August. And, of course, every week I give you something I'm thinking about. And I'm thinking about so many things. It's so depressing to watch what's going on in this country and the cause and effect that it has on other people around the globe, other countries that we could be helping and benefiting from, but we refuse. And I go back to, again, the oil markets, the crude, and the fossil fuel markets. Why are we not drilling our own oil? Why are we not in full production? We will not be changing the carbon footprint, and I could argue the fact that if we were in full production and we're profiting from that, which we would be, the American people would be profiting, which means they'd be spending their money at other places. We would be helping our allies across the globe, okay, because they're getting tortured by Russia. The sanctions we have on Russia would really be taking place, and we could be financing and funding the never-ending desire to get to green energy, which is okay. Again, as I said before, I'm not a climate control believer, but if you are, that would help solve the problem. We are doing everything so much ass backwards, which is creating more grief, more violence, more problems in this country, because we are destroying the most important class of people, which is the middle class. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, the 21st of August. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy. If you're a football fan, football every weekend from now until February. And we'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. And, of course, next Sunday with Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you later.